All right, favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, 1,000 grand or 100,000 grand.
Really?
Yes, and mounds.
Ooh,
And
I'm an
Twix.
almond joy guy, and you're a mounds.
Yes.
How about that?
Aw. It's the yin and yang of candy right here.
It totally is. But one company's pocketing all the change.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
All right, so if you haven't noticed, we're also looking at the forecast for Halloween here. Here's Tuesday Eve.
This is late October, Midwest, temps in the 30s. Pile on the jackets on the kiddos.
At least the rain's not piling on the kids. Wind, and that could bring down branches and trees. And Dr. Navarro's here to talk about what could be happening with this, and a word that is you don't hear too often if you're not in this building here at the Weather Channel.
Yeah, not too often, but if you hear a word like bombogenesis, that will probably get your attention, right?
This isn't some internet word.
No.
This word's been around for a while.
This is a legitimate meteorological term that we use in the community to describe a rapidly strengthening cyclone. Not a tropical cyclone, this is a mid-latitude cyclone. So the storminess that we see often in places like the Northeast.
So this is referring to how quickly a storm can strengthen, and then how quickly the pressure can drop. But will you explain, why does that matter? Why does it matter if you get to a low spot over a couple of days, over 3 or 4, or just one day?
Yeah, the strength of the system always matters. Whether it gets there in 24 hours or 72, the impacts that are felt at the end of that are the same.
So what you saw with the bombogenesis, and it's more trivial then, more point of interest?
It's certainly scientifically interesting, at least, many of us in the community feel so, but it happens very quickly, and it can develop very rapidly intense conditions in these areas over a short period of time.
And perhaps one of the issues with that, maybe it could catch people off guard too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right? And that's always what we're concerned about, is getting people ready for the forecast. But the reason why we get that system, that bombogenesis happening, is because of what's happening at the upper levels. This is the upper level trough that's coming in, bringing in a lot of cold air behind it. So that's the other part of the story. But notice this orientation of the trough here. This is what we call a negative tilt. And because you can see how it's going down here, that's the negative orientation. That creates a lot of upward motion here on the right-hand side of that trough. This is a sign of a strengthening and mature cyclone. And then down at the surface, we get these incredibly strong winds, by the way, with that system. But down at the surface, this creates a low pressure system on the right-hand side of it. That's going to be the coastal storm that we're watching this weekend. That's going to bring very strong winds and heavy rainfall here. Look at the pressure, the tight gradient on either side of this, where you see those white lines very close together. That's where we're going to have some concerns for some very strong winds, both on the coastal side, but as well on the backside of that system coming into the interior parts of New York and New England.
All right, so you just showed two different models with slightly different positions.
Slightly different positions, which really matters as far as the heaviest rainfall and the strongest winds. And the European model is very strong on this bombogenesis happening, that rapid strengthening. But regardless of the exact details, the big picture here is going to be the same. Very heavy, widespread rainfall across parts of New York and New England, 3 to 5 inches, potentially more than that. This is certainly enough to cause flash flooding, to cause river flooding, to bring down those branches and trees. We're going to have a lot of impacts here, and that's just from the rainfall, but we're also going to have strong winds on top of that.
Now, looking at this right now, do you see a slam dunk?
A slam dunk in the forecast?
Yeah, like I will bet anything that this is going to happen.
Models are very consistent with that tropical connection, that very strong moisture we're coming in, the consistency in the model forecast with the strong systems. I think it's likely we are going to see a big system out of this.
All right, Dr. Navarro, thank you so much.